Everybody, good evening. Welcome to All Things Legal. If you have any immigration question, feel free put it in the chat. Let's have a chat about it, okay? Hi, Alex Dawson. Any update of the new rules that was stated on the 10th of February 2025 in regards to illegal entry? No further updates as yet, okay? The rule is in place whereby if you entered the UK illegally on or before the 10th of February 2025, you can face restriction if you then want to apply for British citizenship, okay? So you can be restricted from applying for citizenship. However, there are exemptions when you can, where your application can be successful. Okay, so there must be exceptional circumstances, and in those cases, your application will be successful. Okay, but there are no further updates at the moment. As you join the live, you like the live and you share the live, so it builds the algorithm. You double tap. I think if you double tap, you would like the live. Okay, so yes, Alex, no further updates as yet. All right, I hope everyone is doing fine wherever you are in this world. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for your question, Alex. You're welcome. I hope you have subscribed to my channel as well. Hi, Dr. Bailey Johnson. How are you? How are you doing? I hope you're fine. No, I haven't got the time as yet to look at that information for you. So let me just let you know now. I haven't got the time as yet to have a look at it, but I have not forgot about it, okay? Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm still working, trying to wrap up early today so I can go home early. But yeah, I'm okay otherwise. Thank you for asking. Ohini. No rush. Okay, lovely. Thank you. Mhm. Hi everybody. If you have any immigration question, put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. In a bit, I am going to be talking about the visa ban that was imposed on Trinidad and Tobago. So nationals from Trinidad and Tobago who are looking to come to the UK now required to have a visitor's visa to come here. In the past, they would have had the electronic travel authorization. Well, let me backtrack a bit. So first, there would have been um, nothing required. You just book your ticket and you come to the UK. But now, and then after, they were required to have an electronic travel authorization. But now, as of the 12th of March 2025, they're now required to have a visitor's visa to come to the UK. So I'll be talking a bit about that in a while. I'm just trying to wrap up something and then I'm going to have a conversation about it, okay? It's very unfortunate that it has come to that stage whereby they now need a visa, but everything happens for a reason. And yeah. So as you join the live, you like the live, you share the live so that it can build the algorithm and others can join in the conversation. As soon as I'm finished with this file, I am going to have a conversation about it. Hi everybody, welcome to my live. Alright, I'm back. I don't know, is my phone sticking? If you're hearing me, can you put a thumbs up in the chat for me, please? I'm not seeing my comments moving. I don't know why. The last comment I'm seeing is Dr. Bailey saying no rush. If you're hearing me, give me a thumbs up so I know at least, or send the hearts up so I know at least that it's maybe connection issues. Let me see. See, so I'm not seeing here. I don't know why was the problem with this main phone. Why am I not seeing here? What's the problem here? Alright, I'm not seeing any comments on this phone, so that's okay. Then I'll have to use this other phone where I see Dr. Bailey ask. It's a good thing I have another phone using. So your question is, off topic, that's fine, my dear. How many citizenship can a British citizen have? So it depends on if you're allowed to have other citizenship. Like for example, where I am from, St. Vincent, I have dual citizenship. So I have citizenship from my country and I also have British citizenship. There are some countries whereby you cannot have dual citizenship. So like for example, I think India, it's either or. So you're either British or you're either Indian. So I always say the most you can have, the most that is allowed sometimes is dual, where you can have two. I think there are instances where people have three citizenship. Because for example, if you're married to someone who's from a different country, you can obtain that. And if your parents are from another country, you can obtain citizenship as well. So I'll say it depends on how much you're allowed to get on your circumstances, based on your circumstances. So if your mother is from Ghana and you can get Ghana citizenship, fine. If they don't have any problem with you having another citizenship, that's fine. If your father is from Nigeria or your husband is from Nigeria and you can get Nigeria citizenship and they have their rules have no problem with you having other citizenship, then that's fine. Okay? But I have dual citizenship, which is fine. Alright, so I'm going to get this person thing. I just wanted to know in case I want to move to Ghana permanently. Okay. Yeah, I think it should be fine. Yeah. I think with Ghana you can have another citizenship with British citizenship. So I think you would be fine. Yeah. But I know there are people who have three citizenships. It all depends on what countries accept. So it should be okay. What's the time? Okay. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully that may work. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. For some reason, I'm not seeing my comments, so I'll be looking at another phone that I have here. All right. Dr. Bailey said, I've got 3 already. Maybe you missed my statement above. Ah, yeah, I missed your statement above. He said, oh, yeah, he said, that is me. Mother is Jamaican, husband American, right? And you British, and you're going to Ghana now. Yeah, so you see, that's exactly what I was explaining. It doesn't matter how much you have. It depends on your circumstances and whether or not the country is willing to give you citizenship, despite you having others. All right, so that's really good. It doesn't matter, yeah. So you can get one from Ghana as well. I don't think they have any restrictions, compared to like India. It's either or. All right. So you do have Caribbean. You have Caribbean blood, like what they say. All right, so I'm gonna go on to what's happening now in Trinidad and Tobago. It sucks that I can't see my comments on the comment section, but that's okay. I'll look on the other phone. I'll have a look on this one. Right. All right, so this this update is from the government website. All right, www.gov.uk. Guidance to visit the UK from Trinidad and Tobago nationals. nationals of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. So it says nationals of Trinidad and Tobago must apply for a visa to the UK or for a visa to visit the UK. You can no longer get an electronic travel authorization. Bum. So on the 12th of March, that was on Wednesday last week, the Home Office immediately came out and announced that they are imposing visa restrictions on Trinidad and Tobago. And the reason that I've heard why they're doing this is because of the rising cases of asylum seekers, the rise in asylum seekers cases in the UK. This is the reason why they're increasing, and this is the reason why they impose the visa restriction now for Trinidadians coming to the UK. Now, if we go back a bit in history, the Caribbean was colonized by the British, okay, and many other countries were colonized by the British. And so most of the Caribbean, or the entire Caribbean, did not require any sort of visa to come to the UK. You just buy your ticket, you get on the plane, you get to the UK. You can spend up to 6 months on it's called entry clearance. So you can spend up to 6 months without a visa. And then you leave at the 6 months, you can come back anytime. So you can go and come freely into the UK. Then as time changes, the UK starts to impose visa restrictions on some Caribbean countries. So for example, from Jamaica to the UK, you then needed a visa, okay? But the smaller islands like St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Lucia, Trinidad is a very big Caribbean island as well. But Trinidad, they never required any visa to come to the UK. Then what happened last year, the Home Office said that they're releasing phase 2 of their electronic travel authorization. And so St. Vincent, Trinidad, and lots of Caribbean islands were on the list where we're now required to have an electronic travel authorization. So what is an electronic travel authorization? This is basically authorization. Basically saying to the Home Office or to the immigration, making an application to say, hey, I am coming to visit and this is how long I may be staying, or these are my details. So your name, your photograph, your address, etc. It's less than 10 minutes online application that you make. Putting your details into the system, and then the system will do a quick check to make sure you have no criminal record and background check, and then within split seconds or minutes you would be given your approval if all is well. So it's basically you just notifying the Home Office, hey, I am coming to the UK for a visit. Now that travel authorization would have last for 2 years. Okay, after 2 years, then you're required to do it again. With your ETA, you can stay in the UK for a maximum of 6 months at any time. So it is similar to just an entry clearance. All right, but the Home Office stepped up their immigration compliance up a notch by then putting that ETA on the Caribbean islands, such as Trinidad and others. This was last year. Now, it is a fact that there are lots of Caribbean people coming to the UK to seek asylum for one reason or the other. And we cannot negate the fact that each Caribbean island have their own issues going on internally. And the Home Office, along with America, I think the UK, their stance is sort yourself out. Sort your country out, sort yourselves out before you try to come into another man's country for protection. And what's been happening is that the Home Office has announced that lots of people are coming from Trinidad to claim asylum in the UK. Now, the figures that were quoted is nothing compared to the amount of people coming from other countries like Nigeria, Pakistan. So the Home Office quoted an amount, a rise in 800 and some, say roughly 800, sorry, 800 asylum seekers. That's a very, very small number, but compared to the size of Trinidad and compared to the numbers before, that's a massive increase for the Home Office. And so to curb that now, they immediately on the 12th of March 2025 impose visa restrictions now on Trinidadians who wish to come to the UK for a visit, business, or any other sort of activity. They're now required to have a visa to come to the UK. Now, that drastic announcement and restriction has left many people in shambles. They don't know what to do because many have already had their ETA, had flights booked to come to the UK. They already have plans to come to the UK. And here the Home Office is imposing such immediate actions. Now, if you're familiar with the Home Office and how they work in the UK, on most occasions they don't give any notification. If you get a notification from the Home Office, it has to be in regards to like fees increase. So like for example, they came out in January and said that fees are going to increase, such as naturalization fees, etc. And we already believe that those fees will be increased in April this year. But information of such, they would give prior notice. But when it comes to clamping down on immigration control, border control, they make immediate drastic announcements and measures. Now, like we say in the Caribbean, now for now. All right? And that's what they did. On the 12th is when it was imposed. Trinidadians now required to have a visa to come to the UK. Okay? So, I've got 3 already. Now, what's going to happen to Trinidadians who already have their ETA, who already have a flight booked to come to the UK? They have hotels booked. They have put so many things in place to travel. What is going to happen to them now? So what the Home Office said, okay, is that if you already have an ETA, you can arrive in the UK with an ETA before 3 p.m. UK time on the 23rd of April 2025 if both of these apply. 1. You booked your journey before 3 p.m. UK time on the 12th of March 2025. So if you had already booked your ticket, if you already had your ETA before 3 p.m. on the 12th of March 2025, then you are allowed to come to the UK on that existing arrangement. Okay? But both of these things must apply. So the next one is, this booking was for a journey arriving in the UK before 3 p.m. UK time on April 23rd, 2025. So there are 2 conditions that must be satisfied in order for you to come to the UK still on your existing arrangements. 1, you must have an electronic travel authorization already. You must have booked your ticket, your flight, to come to the UK. You must have booked that before 3 p.m. on the 12th of March. And secondly, all right, which is the same point, is that your booking was for a journey arriving in the UK before 3 p.m. on the 23rd of April 2025. So you must have been coming to the UK between the 12th of March 2025 and before the 23rd of April 2025. So basically you have until April 23rd, 2025 to come to the UK on your existing arrangements. But you must have already had a ticket booked before the 12th of March. Okay, so even if you had your ETA and did not have a ticket booked already, then you can't come without a visa. Okay, so there are conditions, but you must then have a visa. All right, it further goes on to say these information are on the government website. You would need to prove your booking when you travel and when you arrive. You cannot amend a booking to meet these conditions. You will need to apply for a visa instead. You must follow the rules on what you can and cannot do with an ETA. Now, traveling to the UK after 3 p.m. on the 23rd of April 2025, your ETA will be cancelled. You cannot get a refund and you need to apply for a visa. Yeah. Now, my question is, what about people who have already booked, already have an ETA, already booked their flight for the summer? What's going to happen? As the rule said, traveling to the UK after the 23rd of April 2025, your ETA will be cancelled. You cannot get a refund. So therefore, there's a knock-on effect. Your flight will be cancelled, or your flight can still remain, but you need to then apply for a visitor visa. All right, so these are the conditions, and these are, the situation that Trinidadians who've already booked their flights to come to the UK is currently facing at the moment. And it says if you're already in the UK, you can stay in the UK as long as you follow the rules on what you can and cannot do with an ETA. Okay, so those are the rules and the information on the Home Office website, on the government's website, www.gov.uk. all right, so it's very, very unfortunate that this has to happen, but what the Home Office is saying in essence is that sort your country out, sort yourself out in Trinidad and Tobago before coming to the UK to claim asylum. Yes, we can admit that the crime rate in Trinidad has increased. There are lots of gang violence. There are lots of domestic violence going on. And people are running from pillar to post. People are just running for their life. But also, I can say that most of these incidents are gang related. So if you're not in a gang, what is the chance of you getting killed in Trinidad? What are the chances of you being persecuted in Trinidad? On most occasions, it's only if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. We can admit that robbery, home invasion is happening rampantly as well. But does that give you a cause to want to seek asylum in another country? Why not stay in Trinidad and try to sort your issues out? There's a much, they say it's easier said than done. There are some cases where you cannot stay there. Like every other country, there is corruption, abuse of government positions, abuse of being a police officer. There are lots of it happening in Trinidad and other countries as well. But many people think that coming to the UK and seeking asylum is a bed of roses. It's not. It's one of the hardest things that you can do. It's harder than actually remaining in Trinidad. Take it from my mouth. Being an asylum seeker in another country, it's not the easiest decision to make. You're faced with so many obstacles. You have to ask yourself sometimes, did I make the right decision? Am I trying to get my protection here? Or am I in a situation where I'm gonna die? Either way, I stayed in Trinidad, I came here, the conditions are the same. Might as well I go back and die. You have to be strong in this UK if you are an asylum seeker. You have to be strong. You have to have patience, and you have to keep focus on the fact that you need protection here. One of the good things in relation to this visa restriction now is that it can filter who enters the UK from Trinidad. So for example, when I said filter who enters from Trinidad, I'm speaking about when you only required an ETA, or when you had no restriction, the victim, the accuser, the rapist, the murderer, everybody could have come to the UK. So you're running for your life to come here. The killer is coming here as well. And you'll be surprised, as big as the UK is compared to Trinidad, you can actually meet your accuser here. Then does that mean you're 100% safe in the UK? No. So with the visa now, the Home Office can do thorough background checks to make sure that anyone who's in the UK for safety, that their accuser is not here as well. So that gives you greater protection, a greater sense of living. That's one of the good things about the visa now. I was watching this young man on TikTok. He's a Trinidadian. Mind you, I love Trinidad. I studied in Trinidad for 3 years. My grandfather is a Trinidadian. I have uncle, aunts, cousins. I have family in Trinidad, so I love Trinidad. It's just, my mom never really liked it, so she never went and got her citizenship there. But my uncles and other aunts, they went there and got their citizenship. But I was watching this TikToker, and he's a Trinidadian, and he was giving his views on the visa that was imposed. And it was quite funny because he was saying that, you know what? UK imposed visa on us. Well, we're going to impose visa on you as well. And it was quite funny. But he also had a point. Okay? And his point what I gathered from what he was saying is that Trinidad has so much more to offer than coming to the UK in terms of the weather, the people, the warmth of the people, the togetherness. He was saying Trinidad has so much more to offer than coming to the UK. And then I said to myself, if Trinidad has so much more to offer, then why can't Trinidad and Tobago try to come together in unity and heal the country? Work together to make things better. That can be a solution. And this goes for any other countries that are having internal issues. I have to agree with Donald Trump on this one. Try to sort yourself out first. Try to sort your country out. It's easier said than done. But if things are sorted internally, then it can go a long, long way. Now, it opens up the question, which Caribbean island is next? Which Caribbean island will be next for visa imposition? Which Caribbean island? It can be St. Vincent. It can be Grenada. It can be St. Lucia. Who knows? Now, this does not negate the fact that if you're in a country where you are faced with abuse, you're faced with lack of expressing yourself in terms of, for example, if you're part of the LGBT, if you're part of a lesbian or you're gay and you can't express yourself, you fear that you'll be killed, this doesn't negate the fact that you should seek protection elsewhere. Because I'll be honest, there's some Caribbean countries where there's no protection for gay people. There's no protection for lesbians. And so to preserve your life, yes, if you can go to another country and seek asylum, do that to protect yourself. But from an asylum expert, seeking asylum is not the easiest option. It has more challenges than you would ever expect. It's not a right. Some people come to the UK and they think, oh, I'm claiming asylum. I have a right for this. I have a right for that. It's not a right. You don't have a right to come into a next man country to claim asylum and feel that it should be given to you. No. So it's a battle. It's a battle, but it's one that you have to fight because of the fact that you fear persecution if you return to your home country. So yes, Trinidadians are coming here and claiming asylum. So what? They have a valid reason. I'm very, very sure of that. There are reasons why they cannot go back to their home country. There are reasons why they need protection here in the UK. There are reasons of what kind of persecution they fear back in their home country. Should it get to this stage whereby they now need a visa to come? No. But the Home Office will do everything to nip it in the bud. You know, like when you're getting a cold or a flu and they would say, nip it in the bud so it doesn't. That's what they're doing to restrict the number of asylum seekers in the UK. Let me see if there are any comments. So I'm gonna look at a few articles of what journalists or the people in Trinidad has been saying in regards to this restriction. Okay. Now I'm reading from The Guardian. This is a popular newspaper, and it's oh god, you scared me there. You scared me. You make me jump.
Sorry about that, Sheri.
Literally jump. I forgot your hair.
So I'm see I like that.
Yes. Right. So. Yes, I'm going to read a bit about, right, so this is from The Guardian, and what The Guardian is saying Trinidad and Tobago calls new UK visa requirement disproportionate move. Travelers from country now need visas, with decision reportedly made in response to rising asylum claims. So it went on to state that Trinidad and Tobago has described Britain's new requirement for a tourist visa. Okay, let me